So, hello, good evening, good morning, good Abend, willkommen, bonjour. Any more?
Um,
All right.
right, me babber. Um,
Welcome to a customer experience podcast R&R with myself, Richard Knight.
and my good self, Ryan Huxtable.
Well, it's
So,
lovely to see you along again.
yeah, this is October. I want to, a very good friend of mine, he might be sat behind you, suggested an excellent title for this episode, Stroptober.
Why is that, Mr. Huxtable?
Well, I'm glad you've asked me, Mr. Knight. Um, you may recall that between the 3rd and the 7th of this good month was customer service week, where it helps businesses, reflect, refine, think about the service they're giving their clients and their customers. And I have to say, some of the experiences I've been experiencing since we last spoke back in August are getting worse, not better. I don't know about you.
I would concur, my learned colleague. Unfortunately, it is the case, and probably got people sat here going, "Yes, but well, look at all this stuff that's going on: cost of living, a government that couldn't
Government.
organize a pee up in a brewery, all of that sort of stuff." Yeah, absolutely, we get it because we're all in it. And yes, it can impact in a lot of ways: recruitment, retention, all of these things that we've been speaking about over the last few months, and absolutely it can. The key thing is, though, that unfortunately, there are many businesses who are still missing the very basics of a great experience. And hopefully today, no, not hopefully, we will today provide you with some insight into things that might have occurred over the last month or so, and some examples of what we're talking about, but also some top tips, because that's what we'd like to do, is provide people with some key things that they can focus on going forward, and particularly towards Christmas, because you've got to make the most of the period that's coming up, particularly in retail and hospitality, well, across any organization really. So yeah, we have some stories to tell in Stroptober, but it is from a positive intent point of view. Although it
Yeah.
may come across as two miserable old gits, and probably
Well,
to some
is
extent
that
it
too?
is. So that's why we've got to bring ourselves back out of it, focus on the positives here. So anyway, you've been having fun with cars, haven't you, Mr.
I've never
Huxtable?
driven a car. It never ceases to amaze me. The second largest purchase you'll ever have in your life, and garages are a little indifferent sometimes. I would just put it to the client. And we inside sales, we do quite a lot of measurement of the automobile sector. We look after a number of large clients like Arnold Clark and Lookers, and we help them really focus on their client experience. So we kind of know what we're doing with this stuff. And I had my car's fold-in wing mirror, where you lock the door and it goes and closes.
Oh,
Well, that's
posh.
exactly
You're
that.
earning too much, aren't you, eh? Yeah.
Well, I was. The old wing mirrors fold in on most modern cars, did you know, Rich? And in truth, this one on the right hand side, when it was kind of folding in, was making rather a large and unattractive noise. Let's just put it that way. I thought that wing mirror's on its way out, and it's just about to come out of its warranty. So I thought I'll whip it down to the garage. And there were a couple of other things I wanted to check out. The onboard computer system didn't seem to be working. There were some other bits and pieces. So I did something I don't normally do. I rang the main dealer because I thought it needs a service anyway. I'm going to get it serviced, and I'm going to get these warranty bits done, because if I don't get serviced at the main dealer may then start saying, well, like, you can't have it done with the warranty. The usual debacle you have with some garages. And this isn't this is a decent uh, a, a relatively premium mark of garage that you'd expect fairly decent service experience from. And anyway, I wandered in, dropped the car off, explained the problems to them. And the first issue we had was the hire car I booked was no longer available. And bearing in mind I'd driven 12 miles to get to the garage, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to get home to carry on my work, I was delightfully pointed out that I could jump on the bus by the park and ride to get home. So that was kind of the opening salvo of what I think this isn't going to go well. I then left the car with them and got on the bus, and Julie got home and then got rung to be told that the car was ready. But before this, I had another call to say there was nothing wrong with my wing mirror, that it made that noise, and that they couldn't find anything wrong with all the other elements that I'd shared with them. And to top it off, the price I'd been quoted for the service didn't include what they originally had told me it included, and that I needed to pay for the brake fluid replacement, which was another £145, whilst trying to sell me a service plan. So you can understand probably where that conversation went. And it went from bad to worse. And in the end, I kind of picked the car up. We were at a conference last week, Rich, and I had to get to this conference. So I didn't make a big song and dance about it. Spoke to the lady and said, could I speak to her manager? He wasn't available, but promised to give me a call. By the Thursday, I still hadn't had that call. That was 3 days later. So I made the call because I thought, maybe their phones don't work.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't get the message. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Yep. Now, the positive in all of this, and I'll shut up in a minute, is that when I finally did get through to the service manager of the Audi garage in Exeter, he was brilliant. He listened to what I had to say, didn't interrupt, and crucially, he didn't try and defend what had happened.
Right, great.
I don't know about these days, when you complain a lot of the time, there's always a reason. I haven't got enough staff, I haven't got this, I haven't got the other. Yeah. And look, we all know there are a lot of challenges in the economy at the moment, but there are businesses out there that are managing perfectly well and doing a great job at delivering customer experience without making an excuse. And he apologised and rebooked me back in for today. Actually, the car's back in the garage today, the following Monday, and gave me his car for the day, so there wouldn't be a problem to get me a car. Rang me up, apologised about the wing mirror, said that he'd had a retraining exercise with his technician. I don't know what that's good for. And he was going to keep the car. I could keep his car until the part was delivered tomorrow, so that I didn't have to keep going back and forth to the garage. So my faith is restored. But my point is that it didn't really need to go there. Now, what's interesting is I booked the service through a centralised booking system for Audi. And it appears that lots of the messages didn't get through. So they've clearly got some issues sitting in the background they need to sort out. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Greg has done a great job in recovering the situation. But up to that point, I would definitely have been not recommending anyone go and buy a car there, or have your car service there. So, it's just getting some of those, those basic right, like putting me on the bus. It probably wasn't the best thing to do last Monday morning, for example.
No. Absolutely. It's really interesting there, because guess what? We're starting to talk about things that we talk about on a monthly basis, and two of them is process and people. So if your processes aren't right and communication isn't working, you need to test it. Mystery reports, mystery reviews. Hello, we're available. Give us a call. We'll come and do them for you.
We'll help.
And then when you know where the gap is,
I have offered to help. Yes.
Funny that. And when you know where the gap is, behavior, people, what are the people doing? Do they understand why you can't just dump somebody on a bus? Yeah, you've got to step in the shoes of the customer and all those sort of things. And that's one of the key things. So there's people and process you've got to focus on. And that people piece and the behaviors that you see is something that I have come across. And my Stroptober is based around a comparison between having visited Canada in the last month.
I'll take your posh car with folding mirrors and I'll raise you to a holiday in Canada.
Absolutely. Well, that's because I haven't got a posh car, so I can afford to go abroad. You do both, apparently. So
allegedly,
whatever you want. So yeah, trip to Canada to the West Coast, Vancouver, fly in, get in the car. Actually, amazingly enough, Avis car hire, very good. Rocked up. They had the car all waiting, ready, everything signed up. Got in the car. Process was brilliant. Interaction with the human behind the counter, well, it was professional and efficient. It wasn't warm, engaging, empathetic. It was what it was. So there's one example. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. When we were in the resort that we were staying in, the service levels for hospitality were brilliant. I think we had maybe one where it was okay, but because guess what, they run on the old tip side of things, don't they? 15% and all that sort of stuff. They are very, very accommodating, smiling, interested in who you are, what you're doing, and what you'd like. And guess what? As soon as you get towards the bottom of your drink and put it down, you might have a quarter left. Hi, how you doing? Is everything okay with your food? Oh, would you like another drink? Guess what I used to say? All right then, I'll have another one. They were making money out of the fact that they were attentive, they were polite. It is not just a basic exercise, it is a business exercise. Be nice, make more money. A nice equation to have. So that was all. That was very good, and we enjoyed that. Okay, we paid more than we thought we were going to because we enjoyed the experience. I'll have another beer. Yeah, why not? It's lovely. Something to eat. Well, we weren't going to, but yeah, why not? We'll have some nachos or whatever. It's a basic of a sell, but it wasn't a hard sell. It was a question, and sometimes we said no, and they went, "Okay, no worries. If you do need anything, I'll be round again in a bit." Nice and simple. We then had a lovely experience of coming back to this country and going to Canterbury. Now, whether you've been to Canterbury is lovely. It's very nice, very nice.
Very nice city. Yes, I agree.
Lovely hospitality places, lovely pubs. They've got the student aspect to it. We're going there for my daughter to see, so she could have a look at the university, etc., etc. And we stayed over in the night. We had two experiences there where one was absolutely incredible and the other was we didn't bother having that experience. So we went to the Cozy Club, which is a chain of hospitality restaurants and bars around the country. Absolutely heaving, loads of people. Everybody was attentive. We walked in off the street. Yeah, we might be able to fit you in. Hang on 1 second. Came back. Yeah, come on then, and you come. All very good. Next day, we were walking back to it was earlier on that day actually. Another restaurant down the road. We walked in through the door. We'd been there for a drink earlier on the day, and there was 2 or 3 people, staff, stood behind the counter having a conversation. One person cleaning glasses or something, and 2 or 3 people stood behind the bar having a chat. So we stood there thinking, oh, no, let's not be impolite. So we stood there and they carried on their conversation. Their conversation was not something that we should have been listening to as clients either, as customers, because it was about other customers. It was about a process or something like that. And we waited, and then we went, nah, let's go. So we spent probably best part of £100 in Cozy Club, which this independent bar lost out on purely because they did not acknowledge us. Now, I don't expect somebody to drop everything immediately, although it would be very nice as a customer, but acknowledging the fact that we were there, reacting to the situation with some clarification of what's going on. So we've got this, acknowledge, react, and explain situation, which wasn't happening. So we left.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think during COVID, I know we're going back over a few years now, but during COVID and certainly during the cost of living crisis, I think we have become as a population, I think many of us have become almost super accepting of the operational challenges and difficulties that businesses have. And look, we run businesses. It's not easy. We provide a service to our clients that often is challenging to deliver, but we're in the CX business. That's what we do. What I find fascinating, Rich, is that at some point, I think the great British population will turn and go, enough's enough. I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money with you anymore, because we know things are getting tighter. We know that we're sat here on the day that Jeremy Hunt's been installed as Chancellor, and all those tax cuts that we were going to get, we're now not going to get. So we're going to have less money in our pocket, not more. And that's going to put a squeeze on people's budgets. So businesses that get that, and rather than say, I'm going to cut back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually positively invest in my experience. Those will be the businesses that come out the other end, and they will be the business that acknowledge, react, and explain, as you said. This really simple process of just even if you're busy, just say hello. I'll be with you in a moment. That reaction is so important. And then when you do get there, smile, thank them for coming in, and explain what the situation is. Most people are fair-minded. If you say, look, I haven't got a table for half an hour, but give me a telephone number, I'll text you as soon as the table's ready. it's very simple stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
But yeah, I despair sometimes. But you know, that's what this is about. This is what this helpful podcast is all about. To help us say,
Exactly.
like, share, and comment, and really give this. If you listen, if you have had a bad experience, why not send a copy of this podcast to that business? You know,
Yeah,
you can be helping them out no end.
absolutely. So it is all about people and process. People and process, check, test, measure what's going on, because you might not see things from your point of view. You've got to look from it from the customer's point of view. And hello, we're there to help. And then the basic for this podcast, go back to all of your teams, doesn't matter what industry you're in, and say to them, acknowledge, say hello, nod, gain eye contact with people, just so that they have that connection. React. Do they need you to come over right away, or are they in a position where you think they're just looking, it's fine, I'll give them a minute? So you are reacting whether it's immediately or not, and then explain what what the situation is. If you haven't got time, give people an explanation. We'll be with you in a minute. Guess what? We're all very, as you say, we're happy for that, but you have to be given an explanation. We have to know, and it's verbally, not just, well, you knew, you could see we were busy. Yeah, well, that's fine then. I'll go, because you won't need my custom then. So if you're that busy, you don't need my money.
Yeah, cool.
But,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, another absolute barnstormer, Mr. Knight, and listen,
number
lovely,
62 done. Number
lovely.
62 done.
Listen, I heard this phrase the other day. Vanessa
Yeah.
Feltz is this.
Who?
Lovely listener, Vanessa Feltz. Do you remember Vanessa?
No.
You must do.
Is that on radio too?
She's now on Talk Radio, but she does a thing called lovely listener, vibrant viewer. So I'm going to do the same. Hope
Okay.
you've enjoyed it. Lovely listener and vibrant viewer. Please like, share, and comment. Share us with your friends. Do not keep us as your best kept secret. Let us out of the R&R genie out of the bottle. And we'll look forward to seeing you in November, when we promise we won't moan.
No, because it'll be something completely different.
Nice November.
Of which we will talk about something probably tied into fireworks or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, or even thinking about, when the big red fella comes.
And now that is a different podcast that we can't possibly talk about just now. But anyway, thank you very much. Speak and hear you soon. Cheers.
Bye-bye.